It looks like it's going to work out. Good morning, everyone, again. It looks like it's going to work out. I have just enough sheet metal to go around the top portion of the box for the box cabinet build that we've been doing for the last 10 days or however long it's been. Varying degrees of thickness of steel again, and types of steel, in that one's diamond plate and I don't know, one's warpy. One looks like it was used for a doormat for a while. All this steel that I get. But we'll clean it up, we'll make it nice, and you won't ever even know. So I got everything marked out where it needs to be, and I'm gonna cut it with the Metabo. It's kind of I kind of hate to cut it because it's big, and now I'm just gonna have remnants again. But that's the way it goes, so I'll get it cut. Yep, buddy. All right, I have 3 heaters and the floor fan going all at the same time. So that's why I yell a lot. Anyway, the reason I cut steel with a cutting disc on an angle grinder is for things just like this that don't have to be precise. And I guess the reason most people do it is it's cheap. Cutting discs are cheap. You know, they're pennies on the dollar compared to saw blades, metal cutting blades, bandsaw blades, that kind of thing. Jigsaw blades, you name it. And I use my circular saws and things like that for precision cutting, where there's really not a lot of room for error. Now, because this is being welded on the inside of angle iron, it doesn't have to be precise, because A, it's not going to show, and B, it's on the inside. Now I'm starting to sound like that person Harris that's the vice president. Yeah. These are the cut-off discs, and quite honestly, a lot of the flap discs that I use are this benchmark. I started off using these when I first got into this hobbyist welding stuff, and I just never switched because they've been pretty good to me. I mean, what do I know? I mean, they seem okay to me. They're cheap, like I said, and they seem to work pretty good. So as usual, I'm going to wipe this greasy steel down with some acetone, and then I'm going to lay the box cabinet on its side and rotate it one side at a time while I piece and weld these pieces of metal that I just cut in. Heck yeah. Better to do it than not. But when I first started this as a hobby a couple years ago, I never did any of this stuff. I welded right through all this mill scale and grease and all that stuff, because I didn't have anybody to really teach me how to do any of this stuff. You kind of, I mean, you can get people that tell you, like you can go to a cheesy course like I did that's 4 times, once a week, where they basically all they did in this little course that I took at Central Lakes College in Brainerd Lakes area was they give you a tiny bit of tutorial and then just let you weld all day. Now that was helpful. That's where I learned most of my stuff. So I shouldn't say it wasn't a good experience, because it was, because for 8 hours they give you all their materials and pieces of metal, little pieces of metal, and let you just weld all day long. And then if you have questions, they're there to answer them for you. But adults, you know, are kind of, especially adults my age, they get kind of macho and they don't want to ask questions because we think we know it all, right? Actually, it's the opposite that's true. I was just kidding. We ask too many questions, unlike the youth of today who don't ask any. Because they're the know-it-alls, right? Right. But the nice part about having welding as a hobby is you can't get fired. Unless you burn yourself up in an accident or something. All right, we have, actually we have 3 different gauges of steel here. So I'm gonna put the lighter weight gauges on opposite ends and the heavier gauge steel on opposite ends. So we'll put this on a furniture dolly. So that we can move it around, make it a little easier to weld. And because we have thinner and thicker gauges of steel, we'll have to keep adjusting the voltage and wire speed of our welder. So I guess we'll start with the front. The good part about getting it up off the ground like this and getting it horizontal is you can weld easier when it's off the concrete floor, because the concrete floor is cold and it really does mess your welds up, even though I've done it quite a bit. And you put the rough cut edge always to the bottom, always to the bottom. And we'll snug it all the way up to the top because that's the factory edge. And what I'm going to do while I'm piecing this steel in to the box portion is I'm going to go ahead and dress up each side as I turn it. I have some old crusty angle iron I need to clean up still. I need to cut and clean up that I'm going to put along this seam here. You'll see. Alright, we're going to cut 3 pieces at once to 25 3/4 inches. Alright, I'm placing these angle irons around the corners now. I got them heated up, grinded out, and I'm also almost out of gas on the Miller-Matic, so I'll probably be having to switch to the Vulcan till I can get some 90-10 tomorrow, probably tomorrow. I want to get as close to this angle iron corner as I can with another strip of metal, so I have to die grind. I made just a little weld, so it wouldn't be that difficult to die grind that out of there. See, this is why I wanted to grind out or die grind these welds from the corners, is so I could get, I have remnants of this expanded metal that I'm going to connect the dots with, let's just say. One on the bottom, one on the top. We'll be almost ready to flip this. So let's weld this up. Heck yeah. are getting there. I think I'm going to call it a day now. We still have a long ways to go, guys. guys. I invented that. Anyway, we're getting there. We got this side kind of sort of framed out, but not really. And we got one side of the box in. And we still burned our carpet up. Carpet burn from our furniture dolly. Now, I'm going to use this till I run out. It looks like I'm going to run out. In which case I'll just start using some pieces of diamond plate instead. That should look pretty good. And we have the pieces all cut and ready to go. Alright guys, thanks for watching. We're still in the awesome stage. We haven't gone up to badass yet. So I'm figuring it's going to take 2 or 3 more videos for it to get up to badass level. So you can stay tuned for that. You'll be so happy.